What's up, YouTube? With the update around the corner, Brawl Stars is about to be a totally different game. We got a brawler coming who can become invisible, and maps are about to be almost 25% wider. So it's going to be completely different. Let's prepare you for that update so you can dominate as soon as it drops. Alright, so what I want to do is give you a top player's perspective on the new brawler coming and the changes to the maps. It's going to be a completely different game. Now, maybe I'm not one of the very best in Brawl Stars, but I'm top 300, and I feel like I've been there for a really long time. I follow the competitive scene. I do think I'm one of the better players. So I want to give you an in-depth look at everything that's coming to prepare you to dominate as soon as the update drops. Let's first go over the new legendary brawler, Leon. Talk about what sort of brawlers he's going to be good against, his best and worst modes, and then let's talk about the changes to the maps and what modes it's going to impact the most, and of course what brawlers are going to be best after those changes. So first off, the legendary brawler Leon. Now I want to give a shout out to Kairos Time for doing an in-depth look at his stats. If you want to look at that video, I'll put a link in the description. I'm going to be using some of his notes. Now, basically, Leon is a mid-health brawler, and one of the key impacts with Leon is he does more damage the closer he is. He fires 4 shots, and at the closest of ranges, he does over 670 damage for each shot. So he can do about 2,400 damage per shot, which can be a lot if you hit every one. But of course, with a lot of these brawlers, when you fire multiple shots, you're not really going to be hitting every single shot every single time, unless someone's running in a straight line, which is not that often unless maybe you're at very low trophies or facing bots. Now, similar to how Leon does more damage up close, he also does much less damage from further away. His range is really similar to Colt's. He has an arc a bit similar to Tara's, and it changes like Bo depending on the way he strafes. It takes him a long time to charge his super relatively. Unless you're going to be really close doing a lot of damage, then it might charge kind of quickly, but as a medium health brawler, that's not really where you want to be a lot of the time. Now at max level, his super, which is making him go invisible, is going to last about 8 seconds. When he attacks, it goes away, and when he takes damage, it's going to flicker, similar to how if you are in a bush, you get hit, and then you become visible, and then after a second or so, you become invisible again. So to me, a really similar comparison for Leon is going to be a mix between Tara and Crow. Tara is a brawler that's really good at getting kills. Leon to me is going to be really similar for a couple reasons. Like Tara, it's going to take him a long time to charge his super, but once he has it, he's a really threatening brawler, and you have to be aware of if that brawler has super. If Leon has super on the enemy team, you have to be very, very cautious. Not only are you going to be checking the bushes, but you now have to be checking just open areas to see if Leon, the invisible Leon, might be there coming closer to try and kill you. Now, because Leon is a mid-health brawler that you're going to want to be in close range with, you have to be very careful how you play him. You're probably going to want to be from medium to long range while you're charging up your super, and then once you have his super, you can go invisible and get in close range. But you don't want to be going in close range versus all types of brawlers. Leon is not going to be very good versus tanks. They have too much health. It's going to take him too long to kill them, and once you get in close range of a tank, it's going to be difficult for Leon to deal with them, as once he attacks, he does become visible, and they just have almost twice as much health as Leon, and it's not going to be a good match for him. Similar to that, you don't really want to be going against brawlers like Shelly or Nita, who also have a high amount of health. Same with Bo and Pam and Poco, also have a high amount of health. It's going to take too many hits for Leon to get those kills, and it's oftentimes not going to be worth it unless it's going to be a situation like in Gem Grab and they are the gem carrier, and maybe they're not even full health, and then in which case it's going to be a really good time for you to go and use your ability and try and get a kill on them. But with Leon, you're really going to be wanting to go for brawlers that are sort of low to medium health, brawlers long range like Brock, Piper, maybe even Spike. Throwers are going to be really good brawlers to go for, as they're going to be hard for them to counter Leon once he's within close range, and if you surprise them, especially other brawlers like Jesse, Penny, Ricochet, Colt, other brawlers like that are going to be really good brawlers for Leon to go for as individual kills, and then you can make it a 3-on-2, and hopefully you're using that situation to not only get a kill, but charge up your next super as well. Maybe not all the way, but at least a good amount, which is of course always a good thing. Now I want to show an example here of what it might look like for Leon while he's invisible and how far he can get. He has a very fast move speed similar to Crow, so he can actually get really high up the map at max level. 8 seconds. If you're trying to flank someone and go past them, you can do so really easily. He can go almost, if you're going in a straight line, he can go up about 2/3 of the map, but usually you're probably not going to be able to go in a straight line. There's probably going to be walls and other things in your way, so you're really going to probably get somewhere between halfway up the map and somewhere between 2/3 up the map. So this is going to be a really big deal for flanking in any sort of situation, like in Heist or in Brawl Ball, even in Gem Grab, trying to go and get the gem carrier. There's a lot of ways where you can go that far up the map. There's a lot of different possibilities for Leon to be really useful. Now I think his best modes are going to be in Bounty, being able to use that really fast move speed to dodge those attacks from those long range brawlers, and then use his super to go in and get kills for some. They have low health, won't be able to see him coming. Also, I think it'll be really good in Gem Grab, but not as a gem carrier. I know some people are expecting him to be pretty good as a gem carrier because he can go invisible, and you might think that's a really good ability for a gem carrier. And I will say it is, but only as an emergency gem carrier, similar to Mortis. A lot of people might think at low levels, Mortis is a good gem carrier because he has a fast move speed. He can dash in and out, allowing him to survive. But in reality, he's not good as a gem carrier because you want to be in close range. And it's similar with Leon. You want to be in close range, dealing the most damage and getting the most impact out of Leon. But if you're a gem carrier, you do not want to be in close range. So he is not going to be a good gem carrier, except in emergencies. In emergencies, he will be a very good gem carrier because he has a faster move speed. And then really, this is only a situation where there's a lot of gems on the field and Leon is picking up a lot of gems at once. And then it's going to be a great situation for him because he can go invisible and escape with his faster move speed as well. But otherwise, you want to be using the best of his ability, getting in close range, dealing maximum damage with Leon, so you don't want to be a gem carrier. You want to be a support brawler, going in and getting kills and killing the enemy gem carrier as much as you can. And he will be very good at that, or at the least, he'll be very good at applying a lot of pressure and making them back away in a lot of different situations. Now, the only other mode I think Leon is going to be really good in is Solo Showdown. The first thing, just having a really fast move speed is a really good ability in Solo Showdown. With it being such a wide map, it can allow him to escape from either teamers or just anyone going against him. You can escape from people attacking you really easily just with that faster move speed, let alone with his invisibility. Similar to how Mortis is pretty good in Solo Showdown, just because he can move around, he can survive really well. Leon is going to be similar to that. Now, I don't think Leon's going to be that great in Duo Showdown, but I think he'll be okay to decent. I don't think he's going to be that great in Heist, though. I know some people might think he will be because he can go in and flank and get attacks on the enemy safe, but I don't think he's going to be getting his super that often, and I don't think he's a good defender, which is definitely important in Heist. You either have to be really good at offense, which I think Leon is going to be really decent. I don't think he's going to be amazing. Or you have to be really good at defense, and Leon is definitely not. He's not going to be very good versus tanks, as I said earlier, and of course, he doesn't have other great abilities. Like, he can't break down walls, he can't throw over walls, which a lot of the brawlers you see in Heist are going to have one of those abilities. They're going to be good versus tanks, they're going to be able to break down walls, be able to deal a ton of damage, or they can throw over walls. Leon really doesn't have any of those. He can go in and flank and deal a decent amount of damage to the safe, but he's not going to be getting his super that often. I'd rather have a brawler like Crow, who can be a better defender, and he can use his super and a similar ability to jump over walls and deal a ton of damage to the safe. Now, I don't also think Leon's going to be that great at Brawl Ball either. There's a ton of walls in Brawl Ball, and Leon, as a medium to low health brawler, is not going to be his best mode, I feel like. I feel like he's not going to be an amazing killer, unless he's going to be able to get a super much more quicker than I expect, in which case you'll be able to get a good amount of kills, and that'll probably be pretty decent. But also in Brawl Ball, you tend to know where people are a fair amount. It tends to be a good amount of choke points, and you can guess where people are a lot, as a lot of times they're trying to be advancing up the map. It's a very one-sided battle where people know where people are trying to go a lot of different times. You got to be going where the ball is, so a lot of times people can do firings in different ways where they know you're trying to go, and that's not going to be a great place for Leon. Now, as far as ticketed events, Leon is going to be horrible in Robo Rumble. I don't even think I really need to expand on that much. He just has too low damage per second. He doesn't have any sort of special ability that really helps him in boss fight. Being able to go invisible is not really great for boss fight because you're trying to protect your safe. Or sorry, in Robo Rumble. In boss fight, I think Leon is going to be decent. I don't think he's going to be as amazing as people expect. I think at Hall of the Mole King, he's going to be definitely a good boss. But part of why I don't think Leon is going to be amazing in boss fights, I don't think he's going to be that great versus a boss. With a boss, a lot of times they have a super fast reload speed, and they are constantly firing. So it's going to be hard to actually sneak up on a boss. Now, I think it's going to vary a little bit. Hall of the Mole King, I think Leon is going to be a better boss than he will be on the other map. But also as far as a boss with 5 people attacking you, that invisibility is not going to be quite as OP as you would think, as people are going to be constantly shooting, constantly checking. Especially if you are Leon, they will always be shooting once you go invisible. They will know. If they don't see that arrow pointing to you, they will probably just be constantly shooting everywhere. And with 5 people, it will definitely be useful. I just do not think it will be completely overpowered. So I think it'll be definitely good boss, but not an amazing boss. Okay, now let's go over the map changes. This is probably the most impactful change to Brawl Stars in a really, really long time. I mean, maps are going from 17 tiles wide to 21 tiles wide. About a 24% increase. That is a huge increase. That's going to completely change the game. It may not sound like a lot, 2 tiles on each side, but just from a percentage standpoint, you can probably tell this is really going to have a big impact. And I think this is going to have a really big impact mostly for tanks. I think this is going to be huge for tanks. Tanks have sort of struggled in Brawl Stars since it's gone to Landscape. When it first went to Landscape, they were super, super strong because of auto aim and some other changes. But about a month after that, after some huge balance changes where a lot of brawlers got their projectile sizes increased, medium and long range brawlers have been really strong. They've basically been king of the meta for most modes. Not all modes, but most modes. I think this is going to be tanks' time to shine. And one of the big reasons I think that it's going to be a lot harder for those long-range brawlers to be as accurate. You want to be able to know where people are going. You want to be able to predict their pathing. And with even more places for people to dodge, it's going to be harder to do so. I also think this is going to be a big nerf to throwers. Throwers want the maps to be as condensed as possible. They want to have people grouped up. They want to know where people are going with not a super fast move speed on the projectile, especially with brawlers like Dynamite. You want to really know where people are going. You want to be grouped up as much as possible. Throwers are going to be much weaker, in my opinion, post-update, except probably in Heist and maybe in Solo Showdown where you can still team up with other throwers, and let's be real, a team is always going to be strong. But I also think this is going to be nerfed to some other brawlers like Jesse, where you want to have bounce shots, have a really big ability, and if people are going to be more spread out, you're going to be getting less bounce shots. Similar to Poco, people are more spread out, you're going to be getting less hits. Same thing with Tara. Tara is really good at getting multiple kills at once, but if people are going to be more spread out on the map, then he's not going to be getting nearly as many kills. I also think this is going to be a big buff to brawlers like Crow, where they have that really fast move speed. It's going to give them even more room to dodge shots, especially in Bounty. It's going to have a really big impact. And actually, as far as game modes, I think this is going to have the biggest impact in Bounty. Bounty is such a long-range mode dominated because of brawlers who have a really long range, make it really difficult to advance up the map. That's why sometimes at the top level gameplay, Bounty is so slow because people take one shot and they get damaged and they go up and hide up because it can be so hard to advance up the map because if you take that shot, you know you're probably going to die if you keep advancing forward because people are just going to know where you are and they can just keep on shooting at you, and they can also get help from their teammates who also have a really long range. But with more room to dodge, more places to go, it's going to be harder for them to predict where you are going, and you just have more places to go, maybe from hiding-wise, either more grass or more walls. So I think we're actually going to see Bounty become a lot more fast-paced. I also think this is going to be a change to Heist. It's going to be easier to advance up the map because there's more room, as I said, to dodge. But I don't think it's going to be a huge change to Heist because there's still going to be those really strong choke points. And I'm going to guess they're not really going to change those choke points. I think those choke points are going to be probably the same size on a lot of those maps. because that's sort of just how Heist is, and they probably want it to stay that way. But there might be more places for you to break down walls and advance with the maps on the sides as well. I also think there's going to be a really big change to both ticketed modes. Boss fight is to become even more fast-paced, probably easier for the boss, as they're going to have more room to run around and escape to different places. I also think Robo Rumble is going to have a really big impact, as a wider map in Robo Rumble is actually not good for the defenders. You want robots to group up as much as possible, hit as many robots at the same time as you can, as they have so much health, they can be really difficult to deal with. And if you want to get the best possible time, like getting 9 minutes plus 10 minutes, 11 minutes, you need robots to be grouping up as much as possible. And with a really wide map, I'm not sure if this is going to be happening nearly as much, especially with the random wall spawn. You really never know what you're going to get. Now, I don't think it's going to have as huge of an impact in Brawl Ball, although of course it will still have some. But in Brawl Ball, a lot of times you know where the enemy is trying to go, because you want to get the ball, and if you have the ball, you want to bring it to the enemy goal. Now, of course, you can get there in different ways, but when you have some sort of idea where the enemy is trying to go, it's probably going to have less of an impact, because you can still have better prediction shots. Probably the mode that it's going to have the least impact on, though, is Gem Grab. Now, it will definitely change the meta in Gem Grab by allowing tanks to thrive more, as flanking in Gem Grab is a really big deal. But in any sort of mode where it's a centralized objective, people sort of know where you're trying to go a lot of times. And while that's going to allow those support brawlers on the side to go around and flank the enemy, and that will have a really big impact. And I'm not saying it's going to have no impact as far as the change, but I just think it's going to have the least amount of impact, because you know in general where enemies are trying to go. Now, I'll be having sneak peek videos coming soon, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. That's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you later.